All right, let's talk. Let's talk about food not being the point, about the connections in kitchens and not the performance. We all know that the industry has become louder, faster, and more visible than ever. And it's not about the food quality going down, it's about humanity getting squeezed out. Connections were once part of the foundation in kitchens, but it has been replaced with performance and the need to impress. I mean, food was never the point, it was about building a system around people and therefore creating small communities between four walls or families. Yes, older kitchens might have been harder to work in due to the longer hours, the hierarchy, the pressure, but they all had their specific and clear roles. They all shared an identity and they all belonged because each person contributed in their own unique way to the kitchen. Back then, kitchens functioned like crews. You didn't need to shine, you just needed to show up. You weren't special, but you were needed. Connection didn't look like talking, it was more like anticipating a move, covering a station without comments, and knowing when not to speak. Silence wasn't about being scared, it wasn't fearing anyone, it was just rhythm. It was about staying focused. I see in a lot of kitchens today, and it's in different kitchens that I see it in more hotel professional kitchens or catering kitchens or smaller cafe style kitchens where the noise level between staff is high, and that tells me that they are not focused. Don't get me wrong, talk by all means, have fun by all means, but what happened to being in control? What happened to focusing on the task at hand? Isn't that where mistake starts happening? Where you burn the steak or you forget to season the sauce or the sauce even splits because you're busy telling your colleague or your friend about what happened last night after you had that bottle of tequila. Why not just focus on the task at hand? I mean, that's also where bullying comes in, isn't it? Where you start making mistakes because you're not focused. And then you get told that you're useless or how bad of a chef you are or whatever comes to mind. The one thing that I hear a lot as well is how replaceable everyone is. And I don't think that was the case in all the kitchens. Yes, you still hear stories of how everyone was bullied in all the kitchens. They just didn't call it bullying, it was more of instilling fear or making sure everything gets done in more of an aggressive way. But through that, you actually gained more respect for the kitchen environment to know that staying focused means more success. Or am I wrong in saying that? I mean, respect also came from reliability, not from personality. Connection in kitchens was built through consistency, not charisma. I'm thinking of a colleague today that that faces that same problem of is always in the wrong, is always treated unjustly, is always being bullied. But in the meantime, when you actually watch him work, he sparks, he shines, he's brilliant at what he does. But one mistake, and people hate you. They don't care about how good you are. They will start bullying you and start telling you that you are replaceable. I feel that this industry, and every industry actually, but this industry has so much pressure at this moment because the shift in the last few years that happened through food and social media um, just changed everything. I mean, social media didn't invent ego, of course, but it started rewarding it. Cooking became more of a content type idea, a personal brand, proof of your worth, where in your older kitchens, as I said before, you just had to show up. Yes, you needed skills, but it's not like today, where if you can't showcase your skills, then you are nothing. And that's when the bullying starts. Even though you can turn that steak or that mushroom into the most brilliant dish, even better than some big chefs. But one mistake, as I said, and that includes not being able to showcase skills. I mean, all of us have skills, don't we? Why, why have, why else are we in this industry? I mean, are we really just here to be watched like a hawk, or are we here to put smiles on people's faces through food? Kitchens today has less internal trust, and that also comes in where it's more about impressing people. So there's more external validation because you are being watched like a hawk, as I said. And if you can show that brilliant knife skills, then you're on top of everyone's game and everyone watches you, and then One mistake. Just slice that onion wrong, slice that cucumber wrong, and everyone loses it. And the bullying starts. When everyone is performing, then no one is protecting the room. And there is no more protection in kitchens. There's no more protection in the hospitality industry. There's more burnout. There's a higher turnover of staff. There's emotional exhaustion. And it's not because people are weak, it's just because the pressure is so high, it's so constant, and the visibility is relentless. There's no more psychological safety, there's no more mentorship, there's no more quiet leadership. We replaced belonging with exposure, but then we call it progress. Where are the days where a chef will actually come to you and tell you, try it this way, without threatening you, without calling you names, without shouting at you, without pushing you into a corner? Yes, kitchens are rough. Yes, everyone shouts. But that mentorship is really lost. And that's where fear crept in. Because you go to culinary school, you learn all of these skills, then you walk into a kitchen in the industry and you get told, do this, do this, do this, and you do it. But you get pushed away, you get shouted at, and you get told, I thought you went to culinary school. I thought you knew what you are doing. Didn't you learn anything? Yes, I have respect for every single chef out there that didn't go to culinary school, because they actually learned the right and the rough way, and they worked so hard to get where they are today, and that's amazing. In the modern times, we go to culinary school, and a lot of places require that. But then, where's a mentorship after that? Where's the actual leadership when you walk into a kitchen as a commie and you start working? No one really, well, I can't say no one, very few places still do it, where they take you and they actually show you how they do it. They show you new techniques, they teach you new skills, they help you to grow. But also, it all comes down to you. Because I also see a lot of people that doesn't want to grow in this industry. They walk into a job, they get shown what to do, and that's all they do. They don't want to learn other places in the kitchen. They stick to that, which is also sad because there's no more hunger or no more passion for this industry due to the overexposure of of everything, because the public are watching us like hawks, and you can see that on social media. Why are they not wearing gloves, dude? Gloves are not hygienic. This industry has become tough due to that, but it's still fun. Despite all of this, there's still places where people stay for the people and not for the job itself, not for the income they get from the company, from the work. And that's very rare because that's what kitchens are supposed to be. You build a family, you build connection, and through connection, you start shining. And not in the social media kind of way, but you start growing. People stay because there's mentorship. And when they leave, they remember that. They remember who taught them without being humiliated. And that's amazing. They remember who stepped in when you're having a bad day, when you're really struggling to focus, to cut that onion, to think straight. I mean, that's how our normal families are as well. Your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, they notice those things. They can see if something's wrong. And that's when they show up and take your hand and tell you, listen, I've got you. I'm here. You don't get that in kitchens anymore. And if you do, you are lucky. Kitchens like that have that special skill where they help you to survive the pressure. And that is beautiful. And it's just because people actually show up and not fight. Food is all about the output. The culture is the product. Kitchens were never meant to prove who's best. They were meant to make pressure livable together, like a real family. As I said before, the food isn't the point, but maybe people never stopped being. In the end, it's still all about showing up. And by doing that, you know there's good mentorship, good leadership, good psychological protection in kitchens, which is non existent today. And that is sad. And that's why we keep on losing so many people in this industry to whatever cause. Thank you for hanging out with me. See you tomorrow. Take care.